Christianity is the broad term applied to the doctrines and values which its adherents claim to have originated from pagan sources and which have been propagated ever since it was first organized in the year 300 AD in Rome. It has always been a great influence on the lives of millions of people all over the world. Politics is defined in Webster's New World Dictionary as factional scheming within a group. What, you may ask, does politics have to do with Christianity? If you closely examine its history and heroes, you will find facts saying that this man-made religion is nothing but politics. It has been the vehicle which enables the evil one, Samael, to pursue and reach his political aims. The proof is that everywhere the doctrine of Christianity has been propagated, the recipients became the subjects of that nation which sponsored the teachers. From that point onwards, every facet of their lives were governed by and according to the whims of that nation. In other words, Christianity and its proponents sought to conquer and dominate large groups of nations and people to satisfy their own greed for earthly things. At the same time they were conquering to make their establishment materially rich, they taught their victims to negate earthly gain. Furthermore, they trampled upon the cultures and languages of the people who were indoctrinated, and embedded in their minds an essential inferiority. Christianity was the tool used by the Amorite to spellbind the emirs who were brought to America in slave ships, and forced to build the Amorites' empire in America. These emirs, princes, are the Nubians living in the Western Hemisphere, who are still mentally enslaved by the evil one. Shakar has accomplished these actions in the name of religion, yet it is contrary to the teachings which are supposedly to be upheld. Thus, so-called Christianity is not only politics, it is also a gross hypocrisy. Christianity as it is known today came into existence within the period of time that the teachings of Rabboni Yeshua were first brought to Greece and Rome, until its acceptance as the official state religion of the Roman Empire. In that span of time, most, if not all of the original 12 disciples had passed on to a higher life and the gospel was left to be propagated by men who had not known Rabboni Yeshua. Some of these men had only second and third hand reports to go by, thus they were more susceptible to influence of other men seeking their own fame. It is very important that we pause for a moment to state a few necessary facts about Rabboni Yeshua. Jesus was not an Amorite, with long blonde hair as the evil one portrays him in his movies and pictures. He was of the pure seed of the line of the prophets from Adam. Rabboni Yeshua, Jesus, was not the universal prophet as you have been led to believe. He was sent to the tribe of Israel only, to bring them back to the remembrance of El Elo. Muhammad was also universal because what he taught could be applied by people around the world, but he was not sent to all people on the earth. Just like the teachings of Yeshua, Jesus, can be applied today, by people around the world, yet he was only sent to the tribe of Judah. Yeshua is not the flesh and blood Son of the Most High, Creator, El Kalak, as taught in the Christian doctrine. Paul, Saul the 13th self-appointed apostle, was responsible for spreading the false religion of Christianity. He was neither disciple, follower or a supporter of Yeshua. Paul never met Yeshua directly or indirectly. However, by way of an acclaimed vision, he has been able to swallow the whole world up in his newfound doctrine of Christianity. Paul altered the teachings of Yeshua, Jesus, as well as introduced the concept of the Trinity. He outwardly admits that he used lies, deception to gain his followers. Paul's father was a Judahite by name only. So Paul was born a Roman Grecian Hebrew, in other words a reformed Judahite, a Gentile. He, Paul, was of a mixed seed and his father had long since left the laws of Moses. He, Paul's father, had reformed. With Paul's changes of the laws in the Torah, you can find the contradictions in the following of Paul's letters. One where the witness heard a voice but saw nothing, another heard a voice but was speechless, and saw a light but heard not a voice. Which is it? The two men who throughout history are known to be the saviors of Christianity are the very same evil ones, Amorites, responsible for the lies and distortions within the Christian doctrine. In the year 313 AD, Emperor Constantine the Great, reigned 324 to 327 AD, issued the Edict of Milan, thereby ending the persecution of Christians. This shrewd evil one saw the unity and strength of the small congregations and knew that it had great potential gain and power. The Edict of Milan was not pro-Christian manifest, however, it gave the Christians the right to worship, placing them on the same level as the pagans. Meanwhile, under the rule of Constantine the Great, the Nicene Council was organized to settle the difference of opinions pertaining to the scriptures. It approved what should and should not be taught in the church and sanctioned certain pagan ideas and customs which were said to be the teachings of Yeshua. The Council of Nicene was responsible for the teaching of the Trinity concept and was also responsible for subtracting the scroll of Barnabas, one of the lost books of the Bible. The scrolls of the prophet Barnabas was subtracted from the Bible because Barnabas, half-brother to Yeshua from Joseph's former wife Halsa, recorded the prophecy and other truths that could not be altered concerning the life and teachings of Yeshua. Barnabas is recognized as one of Yeshua's most trustworthy disciples. This is due to the fact that he was the disciple who prophesied the coming of the Comforter. When the Nicene Council banned the scrolls of Barnabas, who was also known as Barnabas from the Bible, they called it apocryphal, meaning hidden. In Rome, several converts were gained for a while. The Roman authorities tolerated their growing numbers without complaint. Gradually, the Romans realized that this body of people were very unified and had secluded themselves from the rest of the citizens of Rome to perform sacrifices before the emperor's image. The Christian were fed to the lions in the great arenas and subjected to other forms of torture. Excerpt from Barnabas in part: however, when Ahmed, Muhammad, has come, the holy apostles of El-Elo, that disgrace will be taken away, and this is what El-Elo will do, because I have confessed the truth of the Messiah, who will give me this reward, that I will be known to be a stranger to that of disgracefulness. As previously stated, the Nicene Council formed this Trinity concept to solve the problem created by separating their deity into three distinct personalities: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. The Latin and Greek words were substituted in their mistranslated versions of the Bible, thereby covering up the truth and indoctrinating more lies. The Trinity is pagan origin, and every polytheistic culture has their own representations of it. Common sense tell you that the three persons yet one God theory is impossible, because 1 + 1 + 1 does not equal 1. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. Three cannot go into one. There is no such thing as three parts mathematics. With their paganism added to the Christian doctrine and their lies well underway, Constantine the Great succeeded in making Christianity acceptable to the pagan masses of the Roman Empire. The next evil one Amorite responsible for destroying and adulterating the truth was Emperor Theodosius of Rome, 379 to 395 AD. During the reign of Theodosius, the old pagan religion, Christianity, became the official religion of the Roman Empire. Theodosius gave the bishops a place in the state and recognized their jurisdiction in all matters that concern the lives of the Christian population. This is when the church and state became one. The feast days of the church became public holidays, and Lent became a holy season. To assure the safety and security of the lies which are the foundation of the Christian doctrine, Emperor Theodosius ordered the great libraries of Alexandria, in Kemet to be burned, thus destroying all traces of the truth. Towards the end of ancient Chem's glorious era was as an empire, Alexandria was one of the ancient world centers of learning. It was built under the order of Alexander the Great, and it became the trade center of the Mediterranean. It quickly grew into a metropolis, serving as the one capital of Kemet after the throne of Ptolemy was overtaken. Alexandria's prosperity lasted for 9 centuries. Though it was large, populated, and wealthy, the most famous attraction about Alexandria was the great libraries and their learning complexes, which were called museum by the Latins. It was one of the schools that stored Yahuwah's knowledge for man. This knowledge was possessed by the ancient kingdom, Salam, ruled by Malki Sadiq. Prior to Christian era, 700,000 of the most valuable books, written upon parchment, papyrus, vellum, kata, and wood, were housed in the Alexandrian libraries. The sciences, mathematics, medical technology, all the ancient knowledge which far surpasses the Amorites' so-called modern advancements, were destroyed in a series of fires. The first fire took place in 51 BC, during the time of Cleopatra's reign. Caesar ordered a fleet of ships to be burned at the docks. One of the buildings which housed the knowledge of the ancients was undergoing repairs. Those that were not duplicated were stored away in the house of one of the librarians. As the fleet of ships burned, the building situated nearest the heart or caught fire. The librarians, along with several hundreds of slaves, ran to save these volumes from their fiery destruction. The most precious of these volumes were believed to be saved. In 389 AD, under the order of Emperor Theodosius, the Christians stormed Alexandria and destroyed by fire the Serapeus, the building in which the volumes were kept. Why, you may ask, would the man who firmly established Christianity as the religion of the Roman Empire have all the knowledge given to man by El-Elo destroyed? It's simple: he is the evil one. The Amorite is the physical manifestation of Azazel. He is Shaitan, and he cannot live according to the laws and commandments of El-Elo. It is not in his nature. The evil one has you blind to the facts, and after centuries of lying, stealing, murdering, raping, and destroying, he has built empire after empire, leading millions upon millions of souls astray in the name of deity and religion. Now that you understand that Christianity is based on lies and pagan roots, we can compare the similarities of Christianity and witchcraft. The point I am making is that Christianity is witchcraft in reality, and it is the worship of the evil one. Note the similarities between these holidays. In Touraine, a region and former province of west-central France, Cat Sabbat, a Sabbat where the evil one is believed to appear as a black cat, takes place during the night of the Shrove until Ash Wednesday. Note the similarity: they are really one and the same. The Christian High Mass is the white wafer which they presently give the people in the local churches, but human flesh, and the wine in the chalice is really the blood of the person or animal sacrificed. The Pope, the bishops, the cardinals and high-ranking priests, known as ghouls, gather at Vatican City on Satan's holidays to participate in the Sabbat. Make note that in every motion picture demonstrating satanic worship, the ceremonies are said in Latin. This is the language of the High Mass of the Roman Catholic Church. In addition, on Ash Wednesday, the first day of the religious season of Lent, Christians rub their foreheads with ashes. What basis do they have for such a practice? Like the other festivals, it is also of pagan origin, and in Ireland, one of the strongholds of Roman Catholicism, a type of divination with ashes is practiced on Halloween. The Church professes that they are at war with the Evil One, yet the color red, which is known worldwide as the color of Samael, the Evil One, is used immensely within the Church. The Pope himself is attired in red shoes. He wears a long red stoic, that is a sign of universal jurisdiction in the Church. To ward off the cold he wears a cloak of red wool called a mantello. The red is used for martyrs. Upon the mitre, a tall white pointed hat worn by Pope symbolizing his authority, decorations of red and white are placed. To the Church, red is symbolic of love, suffering, yet, it is the color attributed to the Evil One. The Pope and his brotherhood of Satan are not at war with the principalities of evil. They are at war with you. To win your soul. For the religion that outlawed paganism, what are all those thousands of idols doing in the Church, not to mention the thousands of saints worshipped by Catholics all over the world? They profess to uphold the commandments of the Bible, yet they ignore scriptural quotes such as John 5:21 and Revelation 13:11. The two horns of the beast spoken of in the above quote are symbolic of the Church and State, which are the Church, which is headed by the Pope in Vatican City, Rome, and State, which is the President under the Queen of England. They are the backbone of the beast Leviathan. Leviathan literally means spiritually bound. Spell of sleep that has made you totally ignorant of who you really are as children of the Elohim, Rizkian. This spell binding happened long ago on you, the descendants of the Anunnaki Enki, Nudim-Yud, Israel Zodok and his brother Enlil, Nun-Amnir, Suriel Zodok, who later became the Enosites and the Adamites of the earth. This combination of church and state, which has bound everyone through its spell of sleep, marked the ruling force of the world powers that are in existence today. In Greek, the name of the beast is Thrion. When numerically broken down, its letters equal 666. It is stated amongst most translators of the Bible that this man is a papal figure, meaning the Pope, and as a part of this formal attire, the Pope has this Greek word inscribed on the mitre. The tall white hat worn as a symbol of his spiritual authority. The Pope that they were speaking of is Pope Paul VI. The word Pope is taken from the child's name for father. The word Papa is derived from the Arabic word Baba, which means Pope. Let's look at the name Pope Paul VI. When the P's are inverted we get Bob Bal 6th, or 6666, 1966 6th June 6, 1966, hardly a coincidence. The day the Evil One came out of the pit. 666 is also the name of the beast, which is a computer IBM 3666. The Evil One showed to the public the involvement of the Church and the Pope with satanic worship in the movie, Rosemary's Baby. In this movie, there is a scene in which the character, Adrian Marcato, who is Satan, and the Pope, who is really Pope Paul VI, were the chief warlocks who directed the preparation of Rosemary for the conception of the Evil One's son. The name Rosemary, the Evil One's mother, was chosen because it represents the ancestral background of the Amorite, the Evil One's seed. Rose is symbolic of the War of Roses, the color of the harlot, red, a war that occurred in Europe in the 1800s between two families, the Yorks and the Lancasters. These two Amorite families fought because the Lancasters did not want members of their family to marry those from the Yorks. The Yorks were hemophiliacs, a leprous disease affecting the blood, found among the cursed seed of Canaan, and the Lancasters did not want to intermarry with them. Thus a family feud occurred, resulting in the Lancasters moving to America. Mary represents the pagan and satanic religion which they uphold, Christianity. Before this it was Nimrod's mother, Semiramis, who represents Christianity. This was no coincidence, nor is it a fictional movie made for your entertainment, it is all fact. Not only was Pope Paul VI shown in this movie, but also Jacqueline Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, shown as the captain of the yacht, Sarah Churchill, all a part of the ritual of Rosemary's sacrifice to Satan. It is interesting to note that despite the fact that Paul, the 13th self-appointed apostle, changed the Messiah Yeshua, Jesus, teachings, Catholic popes still use Paul's name in their names. Pope Paul III, Pope Paul VI, Pope Adrian VI, whose name just happens to be the same as the character Adrian Marcato, who is a physical incarnation of Satan, which is one of the chief warlocks who directed the preparation of Rosemary for the conception of the Evil One's son, and the current Pope John Paul, all carry the name Paul. They know that the self-acclaimed apostle distorted the teachings of Christ, yet they still insist on holding his name in high esteem. All they are doing is desecrating their religion. The Evil One Amorite has no fear of camouflaging these events in his movies because he knows he has you people under a spell that has left you deaf, dumb, and blind. The fact is that in the year 1966 AD 13 sons were born to Satan in various parts of the world. The one born in the Western Hemisphere was portrayed in the movies, Rosemary's Baby, The Omen, 666, and Damien, Omen 2. If you would just open your eyes you would see that baby was born right here in New York, the pit of the Evil One, on 72nd Street, in an apartment house which has been around since the latter part of the 1800s. This house is popular amongst the occultists and movie stars, Boris Karloff, Judy Harland, Nureyev, Loren Bacall, Rex Reed and actress Ruth Ford to name a few. This is because it housed witches and warlocks. In the movie, Adrian Marcato was the chief warlock, the Evil One, who gained the most attention. He was born in Glasgow, Scotland in 1846, and came sometime after to New York. Marcato participated in the Sabbath and was one of the chief priests who conjured up the Evil One. He died in 1922 AD. In 1866 AD, his son Stephen Marcato was born in New York, who, not by coincidence, lived in the same apartment house as Rosemary, the Dakota. Later in the movie, we find out that Adrian Marcato is the Evil One and that Rosemary's baby was named Adrian because it was he, Adrian Marcato, who had come up from hell and manifested as part man and part beast to beget a son by a mortal woman, Rosemary. The Evil One knows that the name you choose tells your life story. He makes it a point to disguise his nature and the reality that he is an evil being by choosing common names which appear to have no significant meaning. The name Adrian, Andy, is a good example of this. Adrian, a masculine given name, Middle English, from Latin Adrianus, Hadrianus, of the Adriatic Sea, a Roman family name. Rome is the seat for the Evil One and is the fourth empire, Hadria, the Adriatic Sea. From the American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language. Adrian stems from the word adroit, which means skillful, clever, especially in the exercise for the mental faculties, an ingenious person. So Adrian means expert, clever, skillful, and artful. These are definitely the attributes of Shaitan. The Evil One has also camouflaged his evil nature in the English language and is now a part of everyday speech. Why was the year 1979 AD dedicated as the Year of the Child? First of all, the Amorite used his language of confusion, English, quite well, for he had the masses falling for the lie that he was speaking of all the children. Can't you see this is just a play on words? Year of the Child. He is speaking of one child in particular, and that is Azazel's child. If he meant all children, he would have said, the Year of the Children. Isn't it obvious how cunning he really is? Second of all, 1979 AD was dedicated to the Year of the Child because power would not be given to Azazel's child until he became the age of 13-year-old, 1966 plus 13 plus 1979. Now do you understand? In 1966 AD, Samael's baby was born, marking the year 1 to the Evil One's worshippers. Now, 13 years added to 1966 make 1979 AD, when all power would be turned over to this child. In the movie, Damien, Omen 2, Damien is told to read Revelation, as he was nearing the age of 13, so that he would be able to understand who he really was. Can't you see the truth? The Evil One showed you right before your very eyes and you missed it. Damien represents one of the 13 children that were born unto Samael in various parts of the world. He is the one that would come from the west and represents the Antichrist. In Ashuric Syriac, Arabic, the word for the Antichrist is Dajjal, from the root Dajjala, which means to deceive, to cheat, to cover, or to coat a thing. The Antichrist was prophesied to come in the last days, during the return of the Messiah Jesus. In the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter mentions the coming of the Antichrist and his activities. The Antichrist will attempt to lead all people astray with his false doctrine and performing many wonders. He will try to deceive the whole world and will succeed with everyone except the very elect, the purified ones. Al-Mukhlasina. Daniel also commented on the Antichrist. This is the same house that Rosemary's baby was born, in the year 1966 AD. This is the same house that Pope Paul VI visited in 1965, for the conception of Rosemary's baby. This house is on 72nd Street, the same block which was blocked off for 20 minutes for Pope John Paul II. Any coincidence? In the movie The Omen 666, Damien was born of a jackal, mother of Damien. In the movie Damien Omen 2, Jacqueline. Damien's chromosome structure was of a jackal's. Can't you see the similarities in the name? Jacqueline equals jackal. This child will have political power, as well represented in the movie, The Omen 666, when young Damien was shown at his father's funeral holding the hand of the president. What president was this? Well, in Damien Omen 3, Damien was raised by a man named Richard. Now, ask yourself, what president do we know with the name Richard? Richard Nixon. Did you know that your ex-president Nixon has his name as a covenant with the evil one? The evil one is no longer playing. Only those who place their trust in El-Elo will be saved from the power and destruction of the beast. The downfall of the Nubian in the West is from the fact of refusing to believe the evil one is a man. That's right, a living breathing human being, the Amorite, your doctor, lawyer and teacher of your children.